Now, before we do get into the standings, we do have some key roster updates for you coming into this week. Schalke, for example, are keeping Lorox in the jungle and adding Innaxe as their starting bot laner. We wave goodbye to Forg1ven. Short but sweet. Kind of like you, Veddy.
Yeah, I would equate it, except the difference is I think I'll be back in the LEC relatively soon. I think that Forg1ven made quite a powerful statement with his most recent tweet saying that what he wants is not what the organization is willing to give him. Therefore, until they're willing to find some level of compromise, he will be sitting out.
Right.
And I think that it is a very bold statement to make from Forg1ven's perspective. I don't think that he's had the strongest split. Whether he believes that's on him or the team around him, I still think that the situation that he's put himself in is a very dangerous one. And I hope that Innaxe is something that can bring a change and a healthy one for the team environment.
Frosk, is the idiom "poor workman blames his tools" an expression that resonates here?
If you look at social media, absolutely.
Right.
That seems to be like, I don't feel the need to pile on here because I feel like Twitter and Reddit have blown it up enough. I will say that kind of looking forward, if that's the glass half empty, the glass half full is that right now you're bringing up academy members from a squad that is undefeated right now. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure for Schalke to find their big win, but if anyone can do it and you needed to change something in this roster, bringing in Innaxe is the best step to make.
Okay, so keep our eyes on Innaxe, and perhaps this is that breath of fresh air that they've been looking for. You know, changing something is better than changing nothing when you take a look at the standings. Because
what's the word? I don't want
kicking it into gear.
Losing? No, I don't want them. You know, taking it easy versus Schalke. You know, the idea of foot off the gas is the best way for me to describe it.
I think because of yesterday, I don't think they will. I think they're coming with some, you know, what's the right word? With some vengeance in the eye, you know? With some fire. I think they're going to come in guns blazing. I wouldn't be surprised 20 minutes if they just slaughter them.
I love it. Well, that's the perfect way to end it.
To the LEC, everyone, you can see Schalke backstage after the first win of the split, and I'm here with Odoamne to talk about the game. Odo, simple question, first one, how do you feel right now?
It's the biggest achievement of my career so far, I would say. I mean, jokes aside, it feels good to grab our first win because just this like losing streak kind of took its toll on us. We started feeling the pressure a lot, and yeah, even in our win, it felt like we were playing a bit too scared because we were not really ahead nowadays. So it was kind of hard to come up with the best play, and we kind of had to get creative sometimes when all the TPs came flying and all of this stuff. But it feels really good. I felt like the standings weren't really representative of how bad we were, because I think we could have picked up a couple of wins earlier in the season against like Excel and another team, I forgot what it was. But
that's what second round robin is for. So I mean, you'll have a chance to beat this.
Yeah, I mean, we can still make a comeback, especially now that Innaxe came in. It feels a bit better playing, and yeah, now that the second round robin comes back, we're gonna try to just kind of salvage whatever there is to salvage. I think we're not as bad as our score shows. It's just a bad mentality, I would say, when we lose so many times and people are already talking about, oh, should they just focus on summer split and stuff like this. It's not really a position that I personally am that often into and comfortable being into. So it's kind of like affected me and the others just as much.
So do you think that confidence is back with this win? You mentioned playing from behind and playing scared, but I mean, when I see teams play scared against G2, usually they don't win.
Yeah, I mean, we're still kind of like confident. We're still kind of like taking good plays, you know, but the way nerves kind of show in games like this is like you're not pushing an extra side wave when you should be pushing and generate pressure like that. It's not like you're just sitting there and rolling over, you know. It's just mostly these small details on when you can walk to get vision, how much you should push, how much you can contest, and all of this stuff, you know. And that's kind of like where the lack of confidence showed today, that I feel like we could have pushed a lot more on like the side lanes and stuff and walked in earlier to get control and things like this. So I think it's just mostly that.
That was a lot of back and forth between you guys, and I know that sometimes when you see G2 playing from behind and then getting ahead in mid-game, usually that's when the game is doomed.
Yeah, we got some vibes after we took a 4v5 in enemy bot side jungle. After we all got killed there, I was like, whew, it's happening. So not that dramatic, but we still felt like we were in control of the game. It was just kind of like a cup.
That's really good to hear. And I heard something on the internet, on Twitter. Dan tweeting, "We broke G2." Do you think G2 is broken after a performance like this week? Because going 0-2.
I don't think they're broken. I mean, they took our game today a lot more serious than they did yesterday with the Sona stuff. We kind of thought they would take the Sona thing to us today and give us a free win, but it didn't happen, so we had to take it the hard way. I think it just kind of makes them realize that things are not as easy as they think. I think just because of their status, they are a bit maybe complacent and stuff. It's just things they won't get free wins and stuff like they're used to.
We'll see if they can turn this around next week, but a bit more about you. You were mentioning Innaxe. You did 2 roster changes in the last 2 weeks, Gilius and now Forg1ven. Can you tell me a bit more about this? How did this impact the result we had this week from you?
Well, most of the swaps weren't really based on like individual performance and stuff. It was mostly based on team cohesion. Even when we had the interview last week, I said that we don't really function as a unit, and that's kind of like why these changes came through. That we wanted a bit more teamwork, because the individual play wasn't the problem. It was the problem that we weren't playing together at all, and like we would be winning 3 lanes, and then after 8 minutes we just lose the game every single time. So these changes were really needed because players like Lurox and Innaxe are kind of like more vocal and more kind of like present in the moment to work together with the team. Meanwhile, players like Forg1ven and Gilius are more like impulse driven, and they're kind of like doing their own plays.
Well, I feel like the change was necessary, and I hope you guys are back on track after this. Last question, and that's not even a question. I hear that you're a player of the game here, so I want you to talk to your fans and say whatever you have to say to them.
Wait, where's the camera? Oh, right there.
Here,
okay.
yeah.
Wait, no, it's not that one. Oh, that one? Oh, that one, okay. You guys have been in for a rough ride so far. I'll try to keep the int at the minimum and try to pick up some wins for the second round robin, because we're not really going to think of playoffs and stuff like this. We're just going to try to take it one game at a time, and then just let our work and practice kind of show if we deserve playoffs or not.
You should be proud about the performance you had today, really. And I hope, yeah, you should.
Really?
And I really hope this continues.
Okay, I'll be proud then. I'm really proud now.
GG about the game. Odo, thank you for the interview.
Thanks for
as
having
always.
me.
I mean, I hope I'm going to have other interviews with you.
Maybe.
Hopefully, we'll see next week.
Maybe losers interview again.
No, let's not hope about this one.
Okay.
Back to you guys.
My goodness, I think Odoamne deserves his own sitcom after that one. But welcome back to the LEC studio, where we are